Okay, well, thank you everyone for being here and attending our Smart Futures Lab 2025 info session for our 2025 programming. My name is Marie Evans, and I'm the program manager for the Smart Futures Lab, and I'm going to be going through this presentation today. So here are some elements that we're going to cover in today's session. First of all, why is it important? Why is this program important? We're going to cover what is a smart city and why is it important and relevant to the tech startup ecosystem? What is it? What is entailed with the Smart Futures Lab? We have several different elements that make up the Smart Futures Lab, and we're going to introduce to you our team, some of our partners, and we'll outline what you might expect if you were to go through our program. We'll go through who should apply to the program. How do you know if you'd be a good fit for our program and if you should go through the application process? When is it happening? So both what is the application process? How long is that going to take? And then what is the timeline and the curriculum timeline for the program itself? And then lastly, how do I participate? How do you actually go through the application? What is that process going to look like? As a side note, we will absolutely welcome questions, but I just ask that you hold them until the end, and then we can go through everything and hopefully get all the questions on your mind answered. So first, we have some main partners that are a part of the Smart Futures Lab. One of the main ones is the University of Colorado Denver, and that's the entity that I belong to. That's Colorado's only urban research institute. We're an equity serving institution, and we also have a very large urban footprint. A very large urban footprint that we hope our companies can take advantage of in testing with their products. We also partner heavily with the Colorado Smart Cities Alliance. Today, I have Chelsea Barrett, who is the marketing and communications director of CSCA. And I'm going to give her a moment to quickly introduce herself, and she'll have some time later on to expound on what CSCA's role is. But Chelsea, you can go ahead and take the floor and introduce yourself really quickly.
Thanks, Marie. My name is Chelsea Barrett. As Marie said, I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications for the Colorado Smart Cities Alliance, the closest nonprofit partner and sort of network as in social and partnership network collaborator with this program. I work closely with Tyler Svedok. He's the Executive Director of the Colorado Smart Cities Alliance. More about that later.
Amazing. Thank you. Lastly, we have Innosphere Ventures, whom we partner with on some of our accelerator content and curriculum. They are a tech business accelerator, and they've been helping companies for over 25 years. They bring a lot of expertise to our program, including commercialization, investment expertise, and they also help one-on-one with our accelerator companies as well. Next, we have some of our team members. So I'm going to allow Dan Greiner, the director of the Smart Futures Lab, to introduce himself real quickly. Go ahead, Dan.
Hello all, my name is Dan Greiner, as Marie aptly pointed out. Very happy to lead this program. I've got a long history in developing different types of businesses in the past, and I look forward to learning more about yours. And I think, Marie, are you going to continue going through the rest of the teams here?
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you wanted to say more to the team.
No, I look forward to learning more about you guys. Thank you so much.
Sure. I already introduced myself, Marie Evans. I'm the program manager. I interface a lot with the companies throughout the duration of the program. I also am in charge with a lot of the logistics when it comes to your network groups, when it comes to your instructors and the curriculum. You will see me almost more than anybody if you go through our program. We also have Michelle Hardy, who is our marketing manager, Wonder Woman. She's absolutely fantastic, and she helps the companies with all of their marketing things while they're in the program as well. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about what she does later. You heard Chelsea introduce herself. Tyler Svidak, unfortunately, isn't here today, but he's the executive director of the Smart Cities Alliance, and he helps the companies quite a bit as well and interfaces with them as he helps with partnerships. In his Sphere Ventures, their team, Tim Jones, Ben Walker. If you're part of the accelerator, you would interface with them, and Mike Freeman, the CEO. Over to the right, we have our advisory board, and our advisory board is a part of our application process. So they help with screening people who apply, and they help deciding whether or not they feel like companies would be a good fit for our program. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is that we want to make sure our advisory board members are representative of the populations of our companies. And so we bring in people with a wide swath of expertise and background. And should you apply and receive an interview, your interview will absolutely have one of our advisory board members as a part of it. So let's jump into different elements of the program. But first, what is a smart city? So a true smart city uses innovation and technology to improve citizens' quality of life. A smart city can address everything from infrastructure management and efficiency to service delivery, and our overall empowerment of urban citizens. A smart city should be defined by good governance and a seamless integration of analog and digital technologies, balanced and equitable outcomes for all members of a community, and a fundamental rethinking of how to create the city of the future. Cities often have a challenge, though, when it comes to smart city innovation because they are built and maintained for decades while technology is constantly changing daily. So why is it important to then invest in smart city infrastructure and support smart city innovation and development? At this point, smart city infrastructure technology is driving the U.S. economy and has the potential for $1 trillion in the U.S. market in 2021. We're currently in 2025. So I'm anticipating that we'd be even beyond that point at this point. It's projected to experience a 24% growth through 2030. And so there is some incredible opportunity within these numbers. And we really want to make these opportunities more accessible to our companies. Now, what is the Smart Futures Lab in particular? We are actually a program beyond just an incubator and accelerator. We're funded by a $2.5 million EDA grant to support smart cities innovation and job creation within the new majority populations. I'll cover what new majority is in just a second. I'll dive a little deeper into the resources that we actually offer later on, but the main elements of the Smart Futures Lab is that we have a 5G living lab and that we have that available for testing and development of products. It is also an incubator for earlier stage entrepreneurs and an accelerator for companies who are looking to grow and scale. We have co-working and makerspace with a prototyping lab available to our companies and also partners that exist within the smart cities ecosystem. Now, I mentioned the word new majority, and this is not a term that we have coined, but it is a term that stands for people of color, women, and people with disabilities. And it's important to focus attention on providing particular support and attention to new majorities populations because building a successful smart city business is already hard. It's already a challenge, but the barriers are higher and they're more abundant for new majority populations. And often new majority populations are left out altogether. And there are few programs that tailor themselves to overcoming smart cities barriers in particular, and the challenges that come with working with governments, which there can be many if you've tried. So in terms of our incubator and accelerator, here are some of the resources that our program offers to help our founders overcome these barriers. So first, we have professional programming with instructors that range the gamut in experience within industry and business. We've aimed to make this program accessible through our schedule. You'll see later on how we tend to extend our schedule throughout the year and also through a mostly virtual setting. So you should be able to access almost all of our classes and all the content and curriculum virtually. We have connection to a broad network of professionals in government contexts through our partnership with the Smart Cities Alliance. Like I said, Chelsea will go through that in just a second in more detail. We have a full prototyping lab with trained staff and access to both additive manufacturing. So that's things like 3D printers. We have many 3D printers that you can have fun with. Subtractive manufacturing like laser cutting printer, a CNC router machines. And then I'll get a little bit more detail in this in a moment, but we also have a 5G CBRS testbed with dedicated SIM cards for access for our companies. We also have a surrounding campus in an urban environment. We're literally situated right in downtown Denver, and that works as a living lab meant to be used for testing. We want our companies to be able to test their products within our space. We are continuing to iterate on what the accessibility of this lab looks like, though, and fitting it with resources to enable better testing for software and products as well. We have dedicated co-working space, an office space with computers and Wi-Fi, and a conference room, and that is absolutely open at all times to our participating companies and their staff. We have a person dedicated to your success in the program, and that's me. I will meet with you on a regular basis throughout the program, making sure that you are making progress on your milestones, on the different elements of the program, on the curriculum, on the content, that you're getting the resources you need, and that you're getting connected to the people that you need to be connected to. We do have networking and support groups and programming set up so that you are connecting with people who understand your challenges that you'll be facing and hopefully can help and support you along the way. We have special events that will give you exposure opportunities to the Smart Cities ecosystem and potential partners. And then we also have Michelle Hardy, like I said, our marketing Wonder Woman, and she will help assist you in identifying your marketing needs, and she'll guide you as you build out your marketing processes. All right, I believe next we have Colorado Smart Cities Alliance, and Chelsea, I'll let you take it over from here.
Cool, thanks, Marie. And just want to reiterate what Dan said. We're really excited to see you all in our virtual room today. I'm excited to get to know more about your companies and how they might fit into our network at the Colorado Smart Cities Alliance. What or who is the Colorado Smart Cities Alliance, right? It's, like I said, it's a small team, myself and Tyler Svedok, our executive director. And we run the gamut of sort of collaboration in the smart city space, in the civic innovation space. We'll talk a little bit more about our network on the next slide, but for now, I just want to cover the fundamentals. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, right? And we were founded to create technology partnerships focused on next generation solutions to improving quality of life in Colorado. What does that mean? It means that we define the challenge. We work with our 30 plus public sector member governments and agencies to define challenges in need of solutions, not the other way around. So we're not going to our government saying, hey, we have this cool new shiny toy we want you to try. We work to co-develop solutions alongside of our private sector and innovators like yourselves so that we can find something that really achieves the outcomes that are impacting quality of life in our communities in Colorado. That's kind of the most important part of what we do. And our focus is actionable innovation, right? And how do we do this? Education. We have lots of great educational tools, case studies, some of which can be found on our website, some of which are available only to our members. Membership is something that you become a part of as a Smart Futures Lab cohort member. And that includes things like discovery research, which we do interviews with our public sector members every year to gauge the challenges and initiatives that are the priorities for their jurisdiction that year and beyond. Partnership development, right? A warm handoff. We're introducing you as part of our network to entities that might be interested in working with you to develop some kind of collaboration, which is our co-development piece of what we do. And we've heard from our Smart Futures Lab previous cohorts when they're surveyed that this is one of the greatest value adds that Smart Futures Lab has to offer that sets it apart from other incubator and accelerator programs like it. You can go ahead, Marie, to the next slide. And we have a lot to look at here, but this the slide is really meant to convey the breadth and the depth of the Alliance network, right? With over 70 public sector, private sector, and strategic members, we cover a whole array of different communities, different private sector solution providers, which are targeting different problems, everything from mobility to housing, sustainability, and everything in between. And we also work with strategic partners like academia, like CU Denver, to assist with sort of furthering and amplifying our reach and the outcomes that we hope to achieve. And I think that's really all I have to say about this slide. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Well then, thank you so much, Chelsea. I love our Colorado Smart Cities partners. They really are a value add. As Chelsea said, it's one of the things that our companies often refer to the most as being one of the best parts of our program and one of the best parts of their experience. Okay, so I've mentioned our 5G platform, but how does 5G play a part in this and why is it important? Well, as Craig Wigginton of Deloitte has said, 5G, quite simply, is the key to the future of smart cities. And the 5G that we have available for our companies is not necessarily the same 5G that shows up on your phone. True 5G is not widely available yet. But as a part of our funding, we've built a full spectrum 5G testbed. Now, if you would like more in-depth, or if you have more in-depth questions and would like more in-depth knowledge about our 5G network, I'm fortunately not the person to ask, but we can definitely try to find those answers if you have questions about it at the end of the session. However, I can provide you with some basic information, such as the fact that our 5G network allows for very high speed connectivity. It is low latency, which means you can process much, much larger amounts of data and information with little to no delay. And along with being connected to more devices and sensors, you can bring in greater amounts of data. Our 5G network is free and open to use for any of our participating companies who are a part of the accelerator or the incubator. And we also provide SIM cards for connecting with the network and are continuing to build onto our lab to make it more accessible. Our 5G lab has about half a square mile reach and can be used both inside our facilities and also outside within the urban environment. I want to cover our mentoring and network aspects of our program. Now we have a lot of opportunities of support here. And actually this year we're implementing a new system and I'm excited about it. Outside of the content in the instructor workshops, our curriculum includes sessions for peer-to-peer groups. So this would be the other companies within the incubator or accelerator can meet together within their cohort. We will include mixed peer groups, so cross-incubator and cross-accelerator meetings, and then also mentor groups, where mentors attend the peer-to-peer group meetings and they contribute their own expertise as well. These sessions will happen 3 times a month throughout our programming. The expectation is that all members will attend and they will come prepared with their own challenges to ask the group for feedback and also prepared to come and contribute their own thoughts and advice to the challenges that are presented. Outside of these sessions, our participants can meet one-to-one with their mentors as well. Now, in addition to what Chelsea said earlier, the government connections and the feedback, Colorado Smart Cities will find connections with government partners who can provide feedback and guidance as you build out your product. One thing I do want to make clear that sometimes gets missed is that while we provide ample opportunity, the partnerships with government entities is not always guaranteed. Colorado Smart Cities Alliance does an amazing job. They do a phenomenal job at trying to find the right people to meet with you, but it is up to the participating companies to take advantage of these meetings. It's also not guaranteed that partnerships will come out of these meetings. We hope that through our in-person events and Colorado Smart Cities Alliance opportunities that we can create more accessibility to the information that you need to move forward with your product and to also facilitate potential connections in partnerships where there's synergy, but actual partnerships have happened before with our companies in the past, but we can't promise it. And it absolutely takes proactivity and intentionality on behalf of the companies as they're engaging with these different government entities. Here are some of the innovations that have happened within our program, some of the that have come with their innovations. We have In Situ up in the left-hand upper corner, and they have an augmented reality app where if you use it, you can project into a space of what a constructed building could potentially look like once it's built within that environment. We have Snowbotic in the upper middle, and they are a robotic snowplow, which is kind of self-explanatory, but it can be autonomously put into an area. I know they currently have a partnership with Arapahoe Libraries, which is a library system surrounding Denver, and they plow snow and they clear the way, and they reduce the need for additional staff to have to put their effort towards plowing snow. We have Lazario in the upper left-hand corner, and they have a wayfinding app. They're currently in process of partnering with the Denver International Airport. We have Grid Matrix down in the left-hand corner, and they use LiDAR sensing to sense and gather data on traffic movement, on near misses, and they can give those live updates as they're happening. We have the middle bottom N5 sensors, which is a fire and chemical detection sensor, and they can sense wildfire smoke within seconds and alert the necessary authorities to then get to that wildfire before it gets out of hand. It's a pretty cool product. And then last but not least, we have Tiami, which is they have their poly-edge multifunction sensor. And what it does is it gathers existing electromagnetic energy from cellular transmitters, so essentially cellular devices, and it can detect within the environment things like drones, vehicle traffic, navigation, pedestrians, and other things within the environment. And it's a different way of tracking that outside of things like LiDAR sensors. So those are some of the companies that have come through our program. Here's some of the things that people who have come through our program have said about us. This is Matt Harder from Sigfrid Trust. As a solopreneur, it was very helpful to just have a team of people who understood my business and were concerned about it. Consistent meetings were motivational and kept me making progress, and Talia was great at making connections, and I'd also like to say Chelsea as well, and bringing opportunities my way. In Situ, which you saw on the previous slide with their augmented reality. The Smart Futures Lab has been a great way to make connections to other founders, allowing us to get to know them and their journeys throughout the program. Making connections to city governments, learning the challenges that come with building partnerships within the US, and attending info sessions about working with local governments has been huge. And Carolyn from Glow Water and Solar, the curriculum has been so helpful for me in scaling my business. Specifically, the Smart Futures Foundation, human-centered design and development, and the 5D modules have been great. So we are going to go into what potentially will the incubator and the accelerator programs include? What can you expect to get out of them? And who would we suggest apply for these programs? So at a very, very high level, this is what you can expect to get out of the incubator program. Things like leadership development and support. Help bringing your product from idea through design and validation and testing, information and guidance on IP development, learning about and fleshing out your business model generation, receiving go-to-market guidance, developing strategy for that, and leading with a pitch that you feel confident sharing with potential partners moving forward. Here's some criteria for those who could apply for the incubator. Now, I want to just say use this as more of a guideline. You don't have to meet every single one of these things, but company leadership or product represents or would serve people from the majority population. Are you someone who has a smart city related opportunity that you would like to build a business around? Are you willing to dedicate yourself to meeting the determined milestones, completing the coursework, and attending sessions? Some of those things are pretty necessary. Also, do you have experience with products or service development, 5G technologies, smart city applications, and startup or experience within the startup business world? If you have experience within any of these pieces of criteria, you should apply. And I would say don't self-select out of this process. Allow us to be the ones to say no. Apply even if you're not sure, and then we'll communicate with you on our end and let you know. So here is an overall look at what the incubator curriculum and schedule might look like. This is almost certainly going to change before the program actually starts, but it's kind of a broad overview. The incubator curriculum and schedule include things like I said, leadership and growth, building yourself, building out your concept. So going through what is value proposition and how to go about customer discovery, research, stakeholder feedback. There's building with government. You'll have content around what it looks like to interact with governments, their processes for procurement, and the best ways to approach that. And then last but not least, well, I also want to call out that we have a break in July. So a full month break in July, and then business growth essentials to close out the time. And that'll get you set up with understanding company culture, why that's important, and how to get a solid company culture foundation for your business, and competitive landscape, go-to-market strategy, and developing a pitch that you feel really good about. Now, if you look over to the right, you'll see these milestones. These are things that we expect you to be working on and completing as we go throughout the program. And our content is set up to support you along the way. So the first one is a customer discovery milestone. We feel like that is one of the things that often companies miss is really in-depth customer discovery. And so we felt like it was important to have a whole milestone around that. And then concept refinement, And at the end of concept refinement, right before we go into a July break, you'll have the opportunity to present your concept to receive panel feedback. And we think that it's been particularly important and helpful for companies to get that personalized feedback for where they're at within their concept development. Lastly, the milestone, developing a working business model and a pitch deck. Moving on to the accelerator. Here, at a very high level, are the things that you could expect to get out of the accelerator program. One, feedback and potential partnerships with local governments. We put a lot of effort with the accelerator companies trying to partner them up with people who will give them good feedback from their particular government sector. Research and development support that kind of goes along with it. Financial planning and forecasting, investor preparedness, advanced business essentials, and refinement of your pitch deck and what you need in order to pitch to investors. And that's going to be a lot of Innosphere as well. If you are thinking of applying and think that you would belong to an accelerator, here are some of the criteria that you might need to meet. Company leadership represents new majority, or your product would serve the new majority. You have an established technology with at least one full-time working person. So this person is paid, they are dedicated full-time to working for your company. An existing minimal viable product or service that is making way in a market. So you may have already launched, or you are very, 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 very close to launching your product into the market. Your product or service could benefit from 5G communication in our 5G testbed. So you're looking to make changes or advancements on your product, and you could use the 5G testbed to help with your research and development on that. You're looking to scale, and you're seeking government partnerships or pilots in helping you continue to launch your product. Successfully raise seed investment, or you're in the process of raising your seed investment. And overall, this is what an accelerator curriculum and schedule is going to look like. Same thing in terms of program launch, an understanding of smart cities, and a tour of our living lab. You're going to also have curriculum over what it looks like to work with government. One thing I actually haven't said is that we partner with CivStart, which is an accelerator, and they particularly focus on working with government with their startup companies, and they have a lot of really amazing information and resources, and we really love working with them for this part of our curriculum. Then you'll have opportunities for research, development, demonstration, a break in July, and then close out the time with Innosphere and their content around more advanced business model development, equity investors, customer acquisition, all of that good stuff. And you will see that the milestone that we're working towards the first half of the session for the accelerator is developing a pilot project proposal. We found that it can be very confusing and difficult for companies to figure out how to navigate the procurement process with governments. And so we felt like it was important to put specific focus on making sure that companies are proactively figuring out what that looks like, developing their pilots, developing their proposals, and then you will have a chance to actually get real feedback from government entities, from government officials in that panel feedback pilot proposal demonstration right before the July break. So you'll get to be able to get really practical information as a result of building out this pilot that then you can switch and put out into the real world and hopefully find partnerships easier. And then last, the milestone investor preparedness. You're going to have all those numbers that you need on deck in order to be fully prepared to stand in front of an investor and ready to receive investment from them. So here are some of the in-person days. Now, I said all of our curriculum is presented online, but we do have in-person days that we feel are very important for our companies to attend. The first one is April 17th, our Living Lab in-person tour. We have all these facilities around us, and we want our companies to take advantage of that. Mid-August, we don't have this date down just yet, but it will probably be sometime in mid-August, is an in-person demo day. So that will be a day where we'll have the opportunity to meet one-on-one with people who attend, potential partners, potential investors, and talk to them more in depth about what your product is and be able to demonstrate it. October 17th, this is almost guaranteed not to change. October 17th is our graduation and pitch day. And it is very important that we have our companies attend that day. You will get a chance to pitch your product, pitch what you've learned throughout the Smart Futures Lab program, and we'll have a graduation time where everybody can get to connect and celebrate and also potentially connect with partners as well. There are various opportunities throughout the session to come in person. We do like to provide those opportunities for mentors and instructors. They can sometimes be here, and we want to make sure that those opportunities are available to our companies as well if they want to be here in person. It's not all the time, but it happens definitely sometimes throughout the program. All right, so how do you become a part of the Smart Futures program? We have one common application for both the incubator and the accelerator, and you can access that through smartfutureslab.com. Now, we will determine the appropriate program based on the application responses. So it's our team, along with the advisory board, who determines whether or not we feel like you'd be a better fit for the accelerator or a better fit for the incubator, depending where your company is at. We'll choose 5 companies per program, so 5 companies per the accelerator and 5 companies per the incubator. And you'll need to complete a 39-question application. I believe it's probably closer to 42 questions. I didn't change that number. And it's going to address questions like what maturity, where's your company at with its maturity? What's your actual solutions? What's your product and what's the problem that it's solving? Your growth potential, the experience that you and your team have, equity and representation within your team, and your value proposition. One thing that I want to say is try to come with the most information possible. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have like research paper size links for your answers, but we would like at least 4 to 5 sentences for your answers. And if you don't have an answer, like if you are an early stage company and you don't have some of the information, that's totally fine. We just ask that you clarify that in your answer. You just say, we're not at that point yet. We don't have that information. That's perfectly acceptable. But we do ask that you put more than just 1 word or 2, 3-word answers in there. Here's the application timeline and process. The application closes essentially at midnight, February 21st, Mountain Time. Then February 22nd through March 4th, we do initial screenings of the application. And that just means we look at the applications and we do a screening as to whether or not we feel like the product in the company itself is within the scope of what our program offers and the resources that we have. And at that point, you would hear from us as to whether or not we're moving forward or saying no. And then March 10th through 21st, you will, if you've heard from us about moving forward, you should get a schedule link to schedule a virtual interview. And so we have a 2-week period of time for you to meet with people here on our team and somebody from an advisory board to go through an interview, talk about and get more in-depth insight into what your product is and where your company's at and move forward from there. March 25th, our team makes a selection, our final selections, and you would know within that week, most likely March 25th or 26th, whether or not you've been selected. And then a quick turnaround, and April 2nd, we do a program launch and orientation. So that is both our program, the different elements of the Smart Cities, Smart Futures Lab, and what you can expect from the Smart Futures Lab, and what it would look like to be a part of our program. We ask you to apply. Go to smartfutureslab.com and go ahead and apply. And now I would love to open to the floor to you all. Please introduce yourself and ask us any questions that you have on your mind. And you can put it in the chat as well. Oh, thank you. Michelle just put the link to our website where our application is in the chat.
Hi, Marie. How are you?
I'm good. Who is this?
This is Nick Borrego, the CEO and founder of Atlas Traffic Technologies.
Hello. How are you doing?
Oh, doing fantastic. Thank you so much for the information. Our global head of business development actually found you guys and said this might be an incredible opportunity. And after, this whole presentation, we were really impressed and definitely want to engage with you. We're actually a local-based startup. I had a couple questions regarding like where we currently are as an organization to see if it would be a good fit before we submit our application. So just to give you a quick overview, we've already raised $1.2 million. We've developed our technology to V1, partnered with NVIDIA, and we just actually first boots on ground experience for marketing was last week, and we sat down with the city of Las Vegas, Atlanta, New York, as well as some big potential partners in DC, and got incredible feedback from everyone. And they all want to like implement our technology, which is really exciting. There is some things that we want to button up and utilize like a 5G testing facility with. So based on like that information, I know that's very high level. Do you think we would be a good organization to apply to this? Is this do we fit that criteria, I guess?
Well, congratulations on how far you've come.
Thank you.
It sounds like it. Dan, do you have additional thoughts? I would say go for it.
Well, obviously, we do look at that new majority connection and having a diverse founding team. So that's a thing that we always look at. It doesn't mean that you would not be selected, but those are things that we're always trying to help support. And then also understanding your technology and how it might benefit, broadly all the different people that are within a city. So those are also elements that do weigh heavily in our application. As to where your company's at that pre kind of Series A and just about to, it sounds like you're about to hit that scale, right?
Yep.
You're going to have some unique problems of how to grow sustainably, how to meet some of these needs. What's that first or that next hire you need to make? What types of things do you need to bring in house versus use other partners to address. So I think that you're in a great place for our accelerator program specifically. Incubator, I would say you've kind of moved beyond where that would benefit you. So I think you'd be a great candidate for the accelerator program.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan.
I'm guessing it sounds like you're really trying to expand. All of our government kind of entities and resources are very Colorado based. Are you looking to expand into Colorado?
Absolutely. So the whole goal was actually before we launched nationally was to really expand here locally. So we've already had conversations with Douglas County, Jefferson County, City of Aurora, and got really good feedback and a lot of interest from them as well. But ultimately, like our goal is to really expand as much as possible in Colorado and then, nationally. But we're in a really awesome position where a lot of different government agencies around the country are actually interested in our technology. So we might be making the jump to national faster than we anticipated.
That's incredible. Amazing.
Yeah, it's a blessing. We got 13 people on our team. We're all super diverse. I mean, we're from all walks of life. We run a 24/5 operation, 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. And it's just been a huge blessing. I mean, we incorporated our company in March of 2024 and actually raised funding before we incorporated with Secretary of State. So it's been a huge blessing, honestly. So we're just excited to be here and hopefully be a part of this opportunity.
Well, we would
Excellent.
welcome your application. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Does anybody else have any questions for us?
Yeah, just a quick question. My founder and company is based out of Boston, but I'm in Golden. So I'm wondering if that is okay location wise.
Oh, absolutely. We've had the company is located all over the world.
Okay.
We definitely appreciate somebody who can be here in person and have that access. Like we want people to be able to utilize our facilities, but we've had people who their company has been based in Canada. We've had people from Israel, from I believe was it Pakistan? Is that right, Dan? Yep.
Yep.
So all over.
Pakistan.
And do you mind if I ask who's speaking right now?
Peyton Gibson.
Peyton Gibson. What's your company?
Aritian Urban Analytics and Design.
Nice. Nice. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing
Thank
your
you.
application.
Hey guys, I actually have one more question for you. This is Nick with Atlas Traffic Technologies again.
Yeah.
So my co-founder and CFO is actually sitting right next to me, and we had a brief discussion regarding expediting. So, like I mentioned, we got the product to, V1 where we're ready for pilot opportunities and to validate. So we're looking to like give free technology ultimately for like about 4 months or so and just button everything up before we start bringing in actual customer money. With the accelerator program, is there any way to like expedite the communications and connections to like the local agencies so that way we can push the pilot opportunity and continue our development cycle while still engaging in the full experience?
So Tyler and Chelsea, I mean, Chelsea, you could probably speak to this more. They have conversations right up front. Like they'll be one of the first people that you talk to when you enter the organization. And honestly, it just kind of depends on how quickly they can find the right people for you to meet with. There's not necessarily like a planned out timeline. Like we will not introduce you to somebody till August. That process is more organic. So there's a possibility that you do meet with people earlier in the program. Does that feel accurate, Chelsea?
Yeah, I totally echo what you said, Maria. And hi, Nick. I think, yeah, we've met before.
We
Good to
have.
see you here. I'm glad you're considering the Smart Futures Lab. Yeah, and so in terms of like, I think when it comes to like what milestones sort of your company or product is at in order to engage with our public sector members or communities, um, the milestone is kind of indicative of like what level of support you'd be asking for from that collaborator, right? So if you're kind of in the early stages, you might be looking for more of a mentorship relationship. We can certainly make those connections right away. Co-development. If you're a little bit further along, that turns into more of the like pilot conversations. But there's no like rigid structure, like Marie said. So we can kind of work around where you're at and what the city is looking for, and then what you need from the city to create kind of the perfect formula of collaboration within that environment.
Yeah,
Awesome, Chelsea.
those
Not
connections
to
happen in tandem with our program.
not to Dan's here, but I know also, as Chelsea mentioned earlier, it's important that you're meeting a need. So the more communities are in need of the technologies that you're providing, frankly, the more connections you'll be able to make.
Perfect. Yeah. And the blessing is we've been validated by pretty much every city that we've sat down and talked to. But we can go more into the application. I don't want to take up too much of everyone's time, but I appreciate your guys' answers. Thank you so much.
Well, I see a few of you have hung around here. Please speak up and let us know who you are and what your companies are. Or not. I mean, you don't have to. It's not a
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Olufumilola Matthew. I learned about the program from Dr. Junior, and I'm currently in Nigeria. I run a careers consulting company, but looking to also pivot to an edutech platform as well. So I'm just looking forward to joining the program, learning more. I got the curriculum, so it looks really loaded. Learning more and yeah, collaborating with other people. Thank you.
excellent. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for joining
Well,
us and introducing yourself. We appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you for the presentation as well. It was really amazing.
Absolutely.
Any other brave souls?
Yeah, hello. I'm Joe from BIMFI, and we have software like we're an AI-driven BIM collaboration and progress monitoring platform. And yeah, it's very interesting. I actually already applied a couple of weeks ago, I think, or 10 days ago or something like that. So it looks very promising. Just interesting to see, yeah, how we will qualify maybe as an incubator or for the incubation or the acceleration program. I think we're kind of in between, I think, from our, where we are with the company. But just, yeah, really looking forward to hopefully getting selected. I was just wondering, is like the older startups, like from previous programs, are they still around there too? Or is it kind of like move in for like the duration of the program and then move out kind of situation?
Yeah, they're involved in different ways. Not all of them necessarily, but we do recruit some of them to then come back and be mentors in future cohorts. And then we also have different ways to connect. Like we have a LinkedIn group that should you join the program, we'd add you to that LinkedIn group and you can connect with them there. And we have like a chat forum that you would be able to connect with them as well. So
Okay, cool.
depending, it's kind of depends on how involved they want to be, but there are opportunities for them to continue to be involved and to connect with current participants.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah.
We can't get rid of some of the people that are part of the program. They just won't leave, No.
Don't want.
That's a good
We
sign.
No, we really welcome people to keep coming back and we are even companies from our first cohort are still coming back for meetings with governments and we still provide them resources as we can.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah.
I see a question in the chat. For the resources provided, such as 3D printers, do we have to bring our own materials for that, or is that covered with the program?
I would say yes, but so it would be it's not an unlimited amount of resources that we have. So we'd have to maybe understand what your needs are. If it's just really simple basic stuff, then I don't see any issue with us being able to cover that. But we can't necessarily manufacture all your product either. So obviously happy to try to meet those needs though.
That's a good question.
Hey, guys. I have one last question for you regarding intellectual property. So I know working with like universities, obviously you guys are with CU Denver. There is like that fine line when it comes to intellectual property of who owns what, especially if there's co-development. Is that going to be an issue potentially through this accelerator?
Not at all for this program. So under this program that we do not retain any IP, even if we helped you with your product, which I hope we certainly do. We do not retain IP. So you guys continue to keep all your IP, keep all your equity. It is a completely free program.
Yeah, to
Awesome.
clarify on the IP development side, we just have people that we partner with, IP lawyers that come in and they can provide information and guidance. But yeah, what Dan said.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions before we close out the session? If you happen to think of any before or after we leave here, which I'm sure some of you will, I'm going to put my email in the chat. It's marie.evans@ucdenver.edu, and you're welcome to send me an email and with some of your questions, and I will do my best to answer them.